record it to the cloud. Okay, excellent. So thank you all so much for participating in Vermont Applies today. My name is Brandon Kennedy. I'm one of the Associate Directors of Admission here at Castleton. I have the privilege of working with students from the northern half of Vermont. So for some of you, I might actually be your admission counselor and I might be able to review your application when you become seniors. I'm originally from the northern part of Vermont. I grew up in Montpelier, in the Montpelier area, and then I came down to Castleton. I studied photography and graphic design as an undergraduate student, and I also had a business minor. I have worked in admissions since I was a senior actually at Castleton, so I've been in the field for quite a while, and it's just something that I really enjoy doing. But I'll turn it over to my colleague Joe, and then we'll have Megan introduce herself.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joe Zeitler. I'm also a graduate of Castleton University, class of 2008. I'm originally from Saratoga Springs, New York, and I review all files from what I'll say southern Vermont. It gets a little funky with the counties and how territory is there, but it's definitely a team effort between Brandon and myself. I was a sociology major, played on the hockey team for a bit too, and I've been with the team too, so for quite some time. So it's definitely a seasoned admissions team. And without further ado, I want to kick it to Megan.
Hi guys, my name is Meg. I'm a senior nursing student here at Castleton University. I also have a work study at admissions, which we can talk about later. I'm from Chelmsford, Massachusetts, which is a little 30 minutes north of Boston, and I'm excited to talk with you guys today.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much for joining in today. Vermont Applies is a super special event, for anyone that's on the call today that's interested in applying to Castleton. You can connect with us and have your application fee waived. There's also a lot of other really great sessions that VSAC is putting on. We're super excited that you all are eager to learn about these Vermont colleges. So just to give you an overview of what our presentation is going to cover, we're going to go over some general Castleton information, give you all a little flavor of what we have to offer you in the state of Vermont here. And, we also want to make sure that we give you time to ask questions as well. Like I said, this session is going to be recorded. So for folks that can't join us live, they'll be able to look at it throughout the rest of the month of December, which we're excited for that opportunity as well. If you have any questions, you're welcome to put them into the chat, and Joe and myself will be trying to monitor that. I'm going to start sharing my screen now so that you all can see a brief PowerPoint presentation. But Megan's gonna also share her student perspective for everything. So if I can just get Joe and Megan to confirm that you guys are in fact able to see my screen here.
We're good.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, then why don't we go ahead and get started, folks. So obviously, this is Castleton University. We are one of your state universities, part of the Vermont State College system. Castleton is Vermont's oldest institution of higher education. We were founded way back in 1787. So we've been around for a really long time. We were a teacher's college and a seminary school, and we've grown into the liberal arts university that we are today. One thing that I think is really unique and very special to Castleton when you're looking at other state colleges, and Megan, you can probably attest to this being from Massachusetts, a little bit of a larger state than Vermont. Most state colleges are large, when students think about them. But that's not the case with Castleton. We're a small school with 2,000 full-time students that attend. It means that you have the opportunity to have individual attention from your professors, and you get to know faculty and staff on campus. And that's something that when I was a student, I found really special. Meg, I don't know if you want to talk about that, being in a nursing program that's really popular, and what that's like.
Yeah, so that definitely was a huge selling point to me as far as Castleton. I was a little behind on the application process. I thought I already made my decision to go to a different school, and I actually visited Castleton, fell in love with it, and I immediately got home and I was like, I'm applying to Castleton and I'm going. And the biggest thing that hit me was not only the community, but as Brandon said, that individualized classroom setting. I got to sit in on a few classes, and the fact that you could still have a bigger class, but your professor knew everybody's names and got to individually work and know if people were struggling was awesome to me, just because my personal preferences, I don't want to be just another face walking around campus. I want to be personally known by my professors, and I always say that Castleton's big enough that you're still going to meet new people every day, but it's small enough that you're going to see the same faces every day. So I think it gives that real good medium, and it's a great community too.
Awesome. Yeah. And that's something that we really value as a community, is that we can provide that individual attention. And, as far as our location goes, I'm not sure if anyone has had the chance to visit campus before. Feel free to drop that in the chat if you've been down and actually visited in person, or if you've had family members that have attended Castleton or come before. But we are located down in the southern part of the state of Vermont. So we are right near Rutland City, which is one of Vermont's larger cities. That's going to give you access to shopping, nightlife, restaurants, things like that. And we do also have a couple of apartments in that area, but it's a super safe, very convenient location as far as Vermont goes. Like I said, Castleton's one of Vermont's oldest institutions, and we are super proud of that. But, I mentioned earlier that we've, definitely evolved over the course of our, existence into the liberal arts university we are today. We have over 75 different programs of study, nursing being one of our most popular programs, but we have very popular degrees in business, sport management, education, psychology, all sorts of different things. Our natural science department, which has biology, for pre-med students, things like that, are really very popular. Joe, do you want to talk a little bit about, other programs that are kind of unique to Castleton?
Yeah, so there's actually quite a few, and that's the benefit of a liberal arts college, right? We've got over 75 different programs to choose from. I was a student athlete, so I know a lot of my buddies that were student athletes they had a lot of heavy interest within athletic training, exercise science, health science, the PT, OT tracks, even the profound interest for pharmacy on that front. We also have a wildlife forest conservation program. So for students who love the outdoors, what better way to continue that Vermont experience and do that hands-on research right in our backyard?
Yeah, I think our location really leads to having some awesome programs. Another program that we have is a School of Resort and Hospitality Management, and that's actually at Killington. One thing that you can look forward to as a Castleton student, and Meg, I really want to ask you about this. Excuse me, my dog he's heard me on the Zoom, so he's trying to pop in here. He's a friendly golden retriever that anytime I jump on Zoom, he thinks there's people in the room. So, but anyway, so, as a Castleton student, you can certainly look forward to having kind of out-of-the-box experiences. Like I was mentioning our School of Resort and Hospitality Management. That's a cooperative degree where students are actually living, learning at Killington, which is a huge resort. It's one of the largest ski resorts in the Northeast, and it's a year-round resort too. So we have students that, from all across the country come and study in that program because they maybe want to run a golf resort or be a wedding event coordinator at, at a large hotel or something like that. So there's really cool niche programs like that. But, every Castleton student has the opportunity to have a really unique experience both in and outside of the classroom. And Meg, I was hoping that maybe you would be able to talk about the types of experiences you've had outside of the classroom.
Yeah, definitely. So with nursing and many other majors, you actually get a lot of internships / clinicals. And it just really gets you to get out of that classroom, but also apply what you learned in the classroom into the real world, because that's what you're going to go into your career with. So I think with nursing, it's super important that we get to go into the hospitals. Once I hit, I think spring semester sophomore year, I got to go to the hospital once or twice a week until I graduate. And I just think that's such an important part of the major to really also solidify that that's what you want to do, because it's okay if that's not what you want to do, but I think getting into the field really determines if you love it, if you want to change majors, and you can also just try different things. They don't send you into one placement for your 4 years. They're going to make sure that they get you into different placements so you can get used to the community and how to handle different age groups, how to handle different aspects to your degree and your career. And I know not even internships, just study abroad programs. They really try to connect study abroad programs with your degree. I know one of my suite mates was a environmental science major, and she got to spend 2 weeks in the Sahara Desert working on her major. So I just think Castleton does a great job at finding ways that you can go outside of the classroom and get involved with your career and your major.
Yeah, and Meg, I think you hit on a point that's really important there is that, while students are pursuing their bachelor's degree, the goal of a bachelor's degree is to open up more doors and opportunities for you. And, Castleton has really built our education experience around opening more opportunities for folks. So whether it be, whether it be internship, whether it be clinical, study abroad, these are all things that you can add to your resume that will, really make you a desirable applicant for beyond Castleton. And, that's one thing that we're really proud of, here at Castleton is that our students have really strong outcomes after. The value of a Castleton education is really quite there because, we poll our seniors every 6 months, I believe it is, and within graduation, and 91% of our seniors report back that they're either employed in their field of study or are pursuing higher education. So, the opportunities are pretty endless when you get a Castleton education and a Castleton experience, really. It's not just about what you're doing in the classroom, but also what you're doing outside of the classroom. And now that actually kind of leads us to our next part. I like to think of Castleton as having two really awesome, kind of sections and experiences. So you have your academic experience where it's really classroom based, it's internship based, but then you're also learning a lot through your outside of the classroom experiences. So like student life and, things like that. I lived on campus for 3 years when I was a student. I know, Joe, you lived on campus for quite a bit, and Meg, you lived on campus as well. I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about what it's like to be a student in a living and learning community like Castleton.
Yeah, I think it's amazing to live on campus personally. And I think it's amazing to live off campus, but on campus definitely gives you that community vibes, the community sense. You get to just see everybody. You just feel at home, Castle. You don't walk on a campus and it's too big and you don't feel like you're in a welcoming community, and you feel at home, and it is a home away from home. And I feel like Castleton does a great job too, as to make sure everybody's included and getting out of their dorms. And you guys will experience in your freshman year, if you come to Castleton, that there's so many opportunities for you guys to get out of your dorms, that you get to make new friends, you get to meet new people. Clubs and organizations really do a great job at making sure everybody feels like they have a safe place to go to as well. And I just think that living on campus had a huge impact too on just my college experience.
I do want to pipe in there. Coming from New York myself, I looked at a lot of state schools, and what I found in my home state was a lot of those schools were known as suitcase college campuses. And that's a common term in higher education. That's literally where the majority of students go home on the weekends. And if you're an hour plus away from home, most students don't want to be stranded on a dead campus. So piggybacking off of what Megan said, there's a lot of programming in the evenings, weekends, so on and so forth. If you love sports, prime real estate, over 180 sporting events. And nevertheless, our theater, music, arts programs, soundings events, which I'm sure we'll dive into a little bit later, that was really important for me, was making sure I didn't go to a suitcase college campus. And the best piece of advice I got from my counselor in high school was, no matter where you decide to go off to college, be as involved as you possibly can. The more involved you are within a college, the better time you'll have at college, and kind of open up the doors, get involved, try something new, so on and so forth. And that's something special about a smaller community like us.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, we have so many, you can see from this slide here, the quick statistics. There's with over 50 campus clubs that were all started by students. They're run by our Student Government Association. I mean, there's something for everyone. Some of our most popular, I think our most popular club is our Random Act of Kindness Club, which is just a club that students are dedicated to doing nice things to each other, which is a really cool thing. We have, clubs that are more academically oriented. Like I know there's a nursing club. We have a pre-medical club. So for students that are looking to go on to medical colleges and medical school after they graduate from Castleton, there's a club that's dedicated just to make sure that you all do professional development and advising and things like that. And so, what I always challenge students that I work really closely with to do is to get as involved as you possibly can. Try something that maybe, you hear the name and you think, that could be an interesting club. try to dive into that, because that's going to make sure that you have a really awesome experience. You're going to meet new people, and you're just going to have an awesome time and try new things that you maybe fall in love with that you never thought you would. I also want to mention that, we talked a little bit about Killington and our relationship with the fact that we have a School of Resort and Hospitality Management. But if anyone loves to ski or snowboard, I'm a little biased myself, but I think Castleton has the best ski pass out there. You can literally ski for free as a Castleton student at Pico Mountain Resort, which Pico is a part of Killington. So you can ski, part of Killington for free as a Castleton student. You can upgrade your Pico ski pass to a Killington Beast Pass, which means that you can ski at Killington. They opened up just before Thanksgiving, and they're usually open well into May. So you can ski almost the whole school year if you want to. Don't worry though, we're not going to be loaded with snow on our campus through that time. But you can ski so much, and it only costs you $250, which you can't beat that. So I think, skiing is great. Our partnership with that organization is really quite strong. So that's something that you can look forward to as well. Other things that you can look forward to doing, being active on campus. Joe mentioned that we have sports and things like that, which I think that's coming up here. But I just want to quickly go over this slide here, because it does talk about the fact that, we have a lot of residential communities. And that's one thing that I think was really special to me when I was a student at Castleton, was the resident halls they're not dorm rooms. They're not just, resident halls or anything like that. They're residential communities, and we really strive here to make them feel like a community. We don't have any first year housing. Everyone is mixed in together is what I mean by that. So first year students can be living with seniors, can be living with, returning students. For the most part, if you're a first year student and you'd like to live in a first year student room, you can be paired up with a first year student, but you might be, living down the hall from a senior or a junior. And what that does is it just creates a really inclusive community. We have 3 different styles of resident halls as well. So we have the traditional corridor style, which is like what you would think of as a traditional college room. You share a bedroom with one person, and then you go into a hallway that shares common room and bathroom. You have a suite style, which I think, Meg, you lived in a suite style, right? Do you mind talking a little bit about what a suite style is like?
Yeah, sure thing. So I actually lived in one of the newer buildings, Castleton Hall. And for me, because I'm also on the volleyball team, that was great living in that building, because fun fact, it's connected to the gym. So in the cold weather days, I got to just walk right through the building and I have to go outside. But as far as suite style, I lived with 6 other girls. I had a roommate, and the great thing that I just think the suite styles offer is privacy, but you also get to have 6 friends right off the bat. I actually felt better coming into a suite as a freshman with 6 other girls that I was going to get to know, get comfortable with, but you're also still have privacy. It's not just because there's 8 of you total, 7 or 8 of you total, that you're going to be on top of each other all the time. You're still going to have privacy, but the great thing about suites is you get a little living room area with it. You can bring a TV, you can bring a microwave, you can bring mini fridges. You have a little sink and kitchen area, and then each side of the suites get 2 bathrooms. So you're actually not sharing one whole bathroom between 8 people, but you actually get 2 bathrooms, 2 sinks, 2 showers. So I thought that was really neat and really interesting about Castleton that I did not see in any other schools.
Yeah, the suites definitely, provide activity. Joe, you had something you wanted to share.
Yeah, so I just wanted to provide clarity. I know you, when you initially brought up how we don't have like an all freshman dorm on campus. I know a lot of the colleges I looked at had a lot of rundown freshman only residence halls. It is our goal here at the university to have each residence hall have a 60-40 ratio, 60% upperclassmen, 40% first year students. And I think it's also important to note is that we don't have any forced triples, quads, anything weird like that when it comes to rooms. So it is singles, and a lot of students wish to opt into having a roommate. So there are quite a few doubles on campus too.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, Castleton has plenty of space. I mean, we're on 165 acres. Another nice perk, if you have a car or you have your own personal vehicle, you're welcome to bring that with you as well. So that's certainly something that you can, have, which I think gives you flexibility. We do also have free public transportation for students to take advantage of, and we are right on an Amtrak line. So if you want to hop on the train to go to New York City, watch a Broadway show, or see your friends that are down that way, you're certainly welcome to do that too. And the nice thing about the residence halls, again, is that every first-year student can choose which style they'd like to live in. And there's no difference in price either. Everything's going to be the same. And then I do want to circle to, I'm bouncing ahead here, other activities as well. Joe mentioned sports. Joe and Meg, you both are student athletes, so I think I'll let you all talk about that a little bit more.
Meg, I'll let you speak for most recent experience. I'm a little dated, but I can definitely compliment you after what you have to say, okay?
Okay, yeah. So for me personally, being a student athlete was the best thing I could have done for myself. Not only just to get out of my dorm right off the bat, like I said, with my suite, I came on to campus and had an instant connection with 10 to 20 people. So for me, that felt super relieving that I was able to come on to campus and just meet people. And I think that's just to circle back with the clubs and organizations, why it's such a good idea to get so involved. So you guys just have more people that you can connect with and be close with. But as far as being a student athlete, I definitely came into school knowing student comes first, and Castleton also knows that. They make sure grades come first, but they're super accommodating to, if you have a game, if you have a practice, professors want you to be involved in sports and extracurriculars. So they're going to work with you if you have games and practices, and same with coaches as well. They're not going to penalize you for putting your schoolwork first, because at the end of the day, you're coming here to get a degree. So I think overall, there's such a great mix in allowing you to be a student, but also allowing you and encouraging you to be an active participant in your sports. And it also just gets you out of your dorm. We have a great Division III program. We have strength and conditioning. We have athletic trainers. We have student athletic trainers. If you're interested in the athletic training program, they actually get to do their clinical hours on the student athletes. And I just think it's such a great program. And like Joe said, it's a huge program. So if you want something to do at night or on the weekends, sports are a great event to go to, and they're super busy and they're super fun. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll definitely compliment that. Even as a varsity athlete myself, I took advantage of intramurals. Intramurals are an absolute blast. Get together with your suite mates. They happen late in the evenings. So typically, you throw down a couple of slices of pizza, goof around, full of laughs. It's about getting involved on that front. It is also something to boast about, as Megan said, in regards to academics. Our student athletes do very, very well in the classroom, on the field. You'll learn more about that as you navigate the waters if you're interested in playing a varsity sport. And that transitions to whether you're a junior, sophomore, senior, we need to encourage you to contact the coaches and establish that form of communication right from the get-go. Some of our sports programs are young, so there's a lot of space for conversation to join a roster. And we also have sports programs that are very well established. And we want to encourage you to have that dialogue with the coaches as you apply or before you apply. I know myself, coming from high school, being a student athlete was near the top, definitely not the top, because my parents told me academics first. But being a student athlete was imperative to my decision process. And wherever I went, I wanted to make sure that I was going to get playing time. So one thing I can promise to all students is that you will gain transparency from our coaches. If you're wondering, hey, I play for this team, this position, this is my stats per se, here's my video footage. The coaches are going to be clear and concise with you. They're not going to blow any smoke. So we do want to encourage that dialogue, that if you're interested in playing a varsity sport, to contact the coach. But most importantly, even if you're a varsity athlete, get involved in the intramurals. They're an absolute blast. If you're the type of student that loved being involved in sports, but you're not really sure you want to play at the college level, even more reason to join our club sports programs. And those are ever growing on that front. Chris Chappeldine is the overseer of the club program, club sports on that front. So you can have that dialogue with them. And we've actually had quite a few club sports pop up over the years on that front. So just want to share that. Floor hockey is a must for intramurals. Throw a blast. So I'll just throw it out there.
I always like to brag about my intramural slow pitch softball. My first semester I was a student, we got runner up, which is like, woohoo. But yeah, so there's tons and tons of ways to be active, certainly. And so what I'm going to do now is, oh, and I did see a question in the chat that asked about an ROTC program. The ROTC has kind of changed the way that its policies are nationally, and Castleton for many, many years had a really small ROTC program, and our battalion that we trained with was the University of Vermont. But because of policy changes, you need to be within a 60-mile radius of your home battalion for campus training purposes, and we fall out of that radius. So unfortunately, we don't have an official ROTC program on our campus anymore. We do have a National Guard office, though, so if you're interested in joining the military, being in the Army National Guard, the Vermont National Guard, you're welcome to join that, and there is a sergeant they have an office on our campus as well. And we'd be happy to connect you with those folks later if you have more questions about the kind of the details of that. But I did see that question, ROTC. I know that the folks that are in the National Guard like to do a lot of workouts together. They do a lot of training and things like that in our fitness centers. So, that's one thing to kind of keep in mind as well. But shifting gears, so all that stuff sounds great, right? You love, all the academics, you love the athletics, you love the activities, all those things. You can see yourself at Castleton. So let's talk about how do we get you into Castleton? And Joe and myself are your best friends in that process. We're your admission counselors. If you're from Vermont, you're going to be working with one of us, and we're going to help you as most efficiently as we can get you through the application process. First and foremost, what I always like to preface this topic with, because so many students get stressed, overwhelmed about the application process, is take a deep breath when it comes to getting ready to apply to Castleton. One thing that's, I think, really awesome about our admission philosophy is that we're rolling admission. So what that means is that we're not going to have any deadlines. From the first day of your senior year all the way up through August, you can apply to Castleton. Now, my piece of advice, and what Joe's going to tell you as well, and probably your parents and your school counselor, is apply sooner rather than later so that you can get a decision from us. Then that way you have more time to come up and visit, or come down and visit, I should say, and check us out and make sure that Castleton is truly the right fit for you. And so we're rolling admission, so that's a really great thing. And the other thing that I think is really awesome about our admission philosophy is we take a holistic approach when it comes to the application process. You can see from this slide here our averages that are on here for incoming students, but what I think I really like to highlight for you all is that we're not just looking for the cookie cutter student that has a solid B average, does great on the SATs, does great on the ACT. We're looking for students that have gone above and beyond. So challenge yourself academically. Take advantage of honors level, AP level courses if your school offers those. Maybe you're interested in doing some dual enrollment or early college coursework. Those are things that are going to set you apart from the traditional applicant pool. Also, if you're a junior now or a senior, start tallying the activities that you've done, the extracurricular or co-curricular activities that you've done in your school community or outside of your school community. Have you held a part-time job so that you could earn money to buy a car? Have you, helped your family out with babysitting a younger sibling? We like to know all of these things because these contribute to who you are as an individual. So when we're looking for students to join our community, we're looking for fit. And fit is everything from having a really solid academic foundation to, volunteering in the community and continuing to want to do that. So those are things that I always like to preface this conversation with. We are a common application school, and we also have our own online application. So it's super easy for you to apply. We'll need for your school to send us an official copy of your transcript and then one letter of recommendation. This year, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and it's so challenging for students to get into SAT or ACTs, Castleton has waived those test scores for this year's class. Next year, so if we have any juniors on the line tonight, we're still in the process of determining on if those test scores will be continued to be waived or not. But everything, unfortunately with this pandemic is we kind of have to wait and see. This year is definitely a year of change for many places, and Castleton's trying to keep up with the change and be as supportive to our students and our community as we possibly can. Once these documents are in, your application is considered complete, and you'll actually be able to check all of this live on our application status page. So it's super convenient for you. You get your decision pretty instantly. Joe and myself will review your application, and we'll get you a quick decision. So in some cases, students need to go through admission committee review for selective programs like nursing or, things like that. So you might hear from another admission counselor as well, but you will get a decision from us really quickly. And then the great thing about that is once you've been admitted to Castleton, we can then package you for scholarship and financial aid. And that's what Vermont Applies is all about this week, or this month, I should say, is learning about financial aid, learning about costs. VSAC does a great job of supporting Vermont students and Vermont families. So certainly make sure that you explore all of their financial aid talks that they're going to go over. What I do want to let you know about tonight is that Castleton automatically awards any applicant the highest merit-based scholarship that they're eligible for on the day that you're admitted. There's no additional application for scholarships. So as long as you apply and are admissible, you can be awarded merit-based scholarship. And you can see from here, those scholarships range in anywhere from $1,000 up to full tuition covered cost scholarship. So we have a wide variety and everyone kind of fits in there really quite nicely. Being that Castleton is a Vermont state school, it's super affordable for Vermont students. Any Vermont student that I chat with or Vermonter that I chat with, I always encourage them to look at a state school because, you pay into the state system. So it's an affordable option for many Vermont families. So definitely look into us as, for cost component. You can see all of our costs on our website as well. We're super transparent about that. And that's something that we really take pride in. Now I'm just taking a quick look at the time here. Joe, did you have anything that you wanted to add? I didn't want to move too quickly on this.
Definitely something that is common in dialogue when it comes to financial aid cost is value too. And that goes back to the importance. Check out our virtual tour. Obviously, we don't have on-campus tours right now, but when I was looking at several different colleges throughout my college search process, I actually appreciated the fact that Castleton had a very private school feel versus the state institutions in the state of New York that I looked at. So, and I think that Castleton has done the proper investments over prior years and continuing that, especially this past summer with some laboratory enhancements on that front too. So, obviously you're looking at price tag, then you're looking at financial aid, but I encourage parents to always put a lot of weight on value, the return on investment too.
Yes, certainly. The next 4 years, if you're a senior and you're looking at college, you are making an investment into yourself. And so it's something that you definitely want to do your research on. Now, being mindful of the time, I know there's a lot of great schools that you all probably want to check out. You want to get to know and explore, which is great. Have fun doing that. What I would encourage you all to do, though, is if you could please scan this QR code and enter your information into our system so that we can share updates with you about Castleton. We're also really excited to answer any questions that you might have. Meg's here. She's able to answer them. If you'd like to unmute yourself, please feel free to do so. What I am going to do now is I'm going to stop sharing my screen here so that you all, or actually I'll leave this screen up so that you all can scan the QR code. Another thing that you can do to get connected with us is favorite Castleton if you haven't already done so through the Vermont Applies website. That'll allow you to share your information super easy. You don't even have to fill out a form now. If you favorite us, we'll be able to see your information. We also have some great videos on our booth that you're welcome to check out. They have a lot of information, give you some more student perspective as well. But thank you, Meg. Thank you, Joe, for joining me tonight. This has been a really fun session. I'd love to hear some questions that folks have, and I'll turn it over to the audience if they have any questions.
Hey, Megan, as people are generating questions, would you mind just sharing with us some key variables in choosing a college? Any pieces of advice? I know that when I was looking at colleges, I was extremely stressed with my parents because I was a first generation student. I'm not sure if you're a first generation student, but any pieces of advice that you'd give students, possibly families?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is um, just how if you love a college, you need to go with your gut feeling. I know there's other factors that do play into deciding onto a college, but I think sometimes people can get too stressed with, there's certain criteria for certain schools that they love here and here and here, and there's a bunch of different. I know I did a pros and cons list for every single school so I could try and decide, but at the end of the day, my I felt drawn to Castleton, and that was my gut feeling. And I know it's tough sometimes. You have other people in your ear that want you to go to this college and this college, like your parents. But at the end of the day, I chose Castleton, and I'm so glad I did. But I also think it's super important that you guys should look at all aspects of the colleges, and maybe even a pros and cons list can help. But I think community-based wise is super important because you guys want to be able to come to a school and feel like you're at home away from home. No matter what, college is going to be a little difficult in that first transition, just leaving home, leaving your family and friends. But if you have that community-based college that you feel at home with, that's going to be huge in making you feel like you can stay and make friends. And just like Joe talked about the suitcase college, you want to have a college that makes you feel at home. So I think that's super important, is just if you feel safe and welcomed on that community and that's what your gut tells you, is go with your gut, because you guys are going to know best where you think you fit in.
Since this is a Vermont Applies event, I believe that's the term, right? Brendan, I want to make sure I coined it correctly.
Yeah.
Talking about the college search process, Megan, did you look at any other Vermont colleges in your search process?
I did. I did look at UVM. And for me personally, it was too big. I liked that Castleton, like we talked about, was a little smaller. And yeah, I applied to UVM, Castleton, a few Massachusetts schools, and like I said, I thought I had my school in Massachusetts. It was only an hour away from home, which I was a little skeptical about, just being so close. But with Castleton, once I went there, I just fell in love with Castleton. I know nursing was a huge, crucial point for me to decide to go to Castleton, as well as we talked about with athletics. When I was told that I could go to nursing school as well as play on a volleyball team, that was a selling point to me, because sports have always been a huge part of my life, and I didn't want to lose that side of me, when I went to college.
I think another important thing I want to share, and forgive me, Brandon, you may have touched upon this, but if not, I'll just reiterate it. When I went on a lot of college campus tours, I had a lot of student life questions that I definitely didn't feel comfortable asking in front of my parents. So this email address that you see in front of you, wearespartans@castleton.edu. This is a phenomenal email address that if you're a student, you can send that email, send an email to that email address and ask those student life questions. What's the weekends like? What do students do for fun? Whatever it be, you can be creative with that too. But it's going to be a current student that's going to oversee that account, a student just like Megan, and you'll get that raw response back. So if you have a lot of those questions that you don't feel comfortable asking, maybe tonight while your parents are over your shoulder or whatever it be, or you go visit on a campus tour like myself, this is a very unique opportunity for you to ask students directly. So please feel comfortable contacting that wearespartans@castleton.edu account.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point to reemphasize, Joe, that we are here to help. So whether you have questions tonight, whether you have questions, after you sign off this right away or a couple weeks down the road, we're here to help you and support you in any way that we can. We'd love to point you in direction, get you connected with faculty. We have a whole lot of online virtual events, which I know everyone's online, and we're in Zoom and out of Zoom and on Google Meets and things like that. But we do a really great job with our online events. We try to keep them fun and keep them super informative. So, we're going to be having program-specific open house events that you can actually sign into, and you can chat with faculty from our communication department, faculty from our psychology, our natural science, nursing. There's a whole variety of those different departments hosting these sessions, and they want to get to know prospective students, just like you want to get to know them. So definitely don't hesitate to to jump on, sign up for one of those, join us with those. If you go to castleton.edu/visit, you can see all of our visit options, which I'll drop that link in the chat here as well for your convenience purposes. But again, feel free, folks, type your questions in the chat. We're here to answer them. We're going to hang here for a little bit. I think we have a couple more minutes in our session, and then you're off to the next one. So, I do want to thank you all again for joining and participating tonight. Hopefully you all got to know us a little bit more, and we look forward to getting to know you all a little bit more as well.
That is the benefit to our job too, is the fact of our mission team is small, unique in that front, and definitely one of the fruitful components is getting to work with the families on that front. So we're not the type of admissions office where you contact a number and you press 2, 6, 7, 4 and speak to a random person. Let's keep in mind what Brandon reiterated earlier. You're going to have one person here at the admissions office that is your sole counselor. So for parents that feel like you're all frazzled up, want to pull your hair out because it's overwhelming, give us a call. We'd be happy to have a separate Zoom meeting, whatever it be, phone call off to the side. But please know that Castleton is here to help you throughout that process.
That we are. So I'm just going to end the recording now, you guys. It doesn't look like anyone has any questions. So if you do, we're still going to hang here for a little bit, but I'm going to end this recording now. I've stopped sharing. We're going to stop the recording.